And good evening, and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Bjorla. Glad you're with us.
Right now, Vice President and presumptive Democratic nominee for President of the United States, Kamala Harris, is in Philadelphia.
Tonight is not only her first rally of many in key states for the 2024 election, but she's officially introducing Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her official running mate, announcing he'd be her pick for the ticket this morning, celebrating his commitment to working family issues.
All right, let's take a listen in.
Thank you for the warm welcome. And let me just say, it's good to be here with all of the friends, all of the leaders who are here. I want to thank former Governor Ed Rendell, Senator Bob Casey, who we will re-elect this November, Senator John Fetterman, Mayor Sherelle Parker, and Chairman Jamie Harrison. And it is so good to be here with your incredible Governor, Josh Shapiro. And I will say, Josh is a dear, dear friend and an extraordinary leader. He and I have been spending a lot of time together over the years. And I told Josh, look, I am so invested in our friendship in doing this together, because together with Josh Shapiro, we will win Pennsylvania. We will win Pennsylvania. And I thank you, Josh. I thank you. So Philadelphia, I launched my campaign for the President of the United States a mere 2 weeks ago. And it's been a bit of a whirlwind. And just last night, the delegates to the Democratic National Convention finished voting. And so I stand before you today to proudly announce I am now officially the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. And so now we got some work to do. We need to move to the general election and win that. And to all the friends, listen, we also need to level set. We are the underdogs in this race. But we have the momentum, and I know exactly what we are up against. Now, many of you know, before I was elected vice president or elected a United States senator, I was an elected attorney general, and before that, elected district attorney. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. So in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who scammed consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, Trump's type.
Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, starts with a weather impact alert.
We will continue to be monitoring the vice president and now a presumptive nominee for the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, and her historic pick of Tim Walz from Minnesota over Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. So Matt Caron standing by for a breakdown of Connecticut reaction to that. Well, we're watching the weather impact tonight through tomorrow with late night storms bringing the potential for flooding. Yeah,
meteorologist Sam Sampiri standing by. Sam, what are you seeing?
Well, right now it's all on the shoreline, guys. We see that most of the moderate to heavy rain is right on the shore and even further south now across Long Island and eastern Connecticut. We had one little cell. Before, we did have a little bit of a flood advisory with that batch of heavy rain that just developed right along the shore. But that front sag south, but very close to us right now, we have some very heavy rain down in the New York City area where there's flood advisories and flood warnings. And out to the west here, you see a cluster of thunderstorms. This is all due to a front that's stalled out to the south. It's hot and humid. To the north, it's much cooler. And so we have low pressure and all the heavy rain, showers and thunderstorms. And again, we could see heavy rain moving back up into the Greenwich area. Meanwhile, we are watching this system. This is the remnants of Tropical Storm Debbie. Actually, it's still Tropical Storm Debbie, and it's just spinning there and coming up. I will detail how much rain we'll get from the system up to our south across Long Island Sound. And how much rain will we get out of this? There's been some changes in the guidance. I know it's still a few days away, but I have brand new information to share with you. I'll be back in a few minutes with all the details on your Fox 61 7-day forecast. Brent and Bridget?
All right, Sam, thank you. Well, tonight, a 10-year-old boy from New Haven is back home and recovering. Police say a shooter fired into his home last night while the boy was sleeping. Very disturbing. The city reacting with frustration to what seems like constant violence in their communities. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc is outside the police department tonight with their message.
New Haven police tell us the 10-year-old boy was in bed last night, sleeping next to his mother when someone shot at their house.
People they just shoot for no reason, and that's the problem.
New Haven neighbors are taking it all in after learning from police a 10-year-old boy was injured after a shooting near the corner of Congress Ave and Redfield Street in the middle of the night Tuesday.
That's just the saddest thing that could ever happen to a child. And the poor mother, I hope she's doing okay.
Police say just after 2:40 in the morning, at least 6 shots were fired. Some of those bullets went into the second-floor bedroom of the home where the boy and his mom were sleeping.
We believe that somebody intended to shoot into the back of the house, but we don't believe the people in the house are the intended targets.
Police Chief Carl Jacobson says the boy had small cuts to his feet and was sent to the hospital with minor injuries. His mother wasn't hurt. At this point, police do not know whether the injuries are from the bullets or from shattered glass.
Still, we're treating this as a 10-year-old shot. This is a priority. I had a conversation with the 10-year-old who was upbeat and until I told him that we would protect his family, and then he started to cry.
As police search for a suspect, they're standing guard outside the home, promising to do what they can to protect the family and the community.
We're very lucky this morning that we don't have 1 or 2 deceased people. We're very lucky. We've gone through a spat of violence, and we've done a lot to calm it down. We just got to do more.
Jacobson says the last couple of weeks have been particularly violent, with more than a dozen shootings in New Haven. Though they haven't been deadly, police are working with the feds and other partners to stop the trend.
We are going to track these people down. This has to stop.
Now, police tell us they think the gunfire came from a driveway down the street, and they have identified a car that they believe was involved, though they haven't arrested anyone. If you know anything, reach out to police. We are in New Haven. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Julia. A Bridgeport Public School staff member lost family members in an SUV crash last night in Florida. Police identified 21-year-old Anya Monique Tucker and a 5-year-old as victims. An SUV was driving on Hatton Highway at around 7:30 p.m. Police say too many people were in that vehicle. It lost control, hit a guardrail, and went into a canal. Our sister station in Tampa told us crews found the SUV upside down and partially underwater. 9 people died and 1 is seriously hurt and in the hospital tonight. Bridgeport Mayor Joe Gannon responded to the news of the crash, saying, quote, The amount of grief that comes from losing a loved one is never easy, and unfortunately this instance calls for an unparalleled amount of sorrow as multiple losses have taken place. All our hearts, thoughts, and prayers are with the custodial staff member and the rest of their family as they embark on a mournful journey toward healing.
In just the last few hours, we've learned the New Haven police officer who was inside his cruiser when a man tried to steal it suffered a brain bleed. This comes as the suspect made his first court appearance today. You see him here. Stacy Footman, charged with several crimes, including theft and kidnapping. His bond is set at $300,000. Let's revisit the security footage from Sunday night. As you can see here, the 49-year-old appears to get in the driver's side of the car while an officer was still in the passenger side writing a report. The officer tried to push him out, but Footman drove away. The officer pulled the steering wheel, which caused the car to crash right into a church next to the station. Both Footman and the officer were taken to the hospital. Tests showed the officer had a minor bleed right behind his skull. Footman was arrested, and police tell us he had 2 outstanding warrants.